9-year-old Jewish man is dead after a head injury following an altercation at an Israel-Hamas war protest in Ventura County, California. The death followed a confrontation with a counter-protester as both pro-Israeli and pro-Palestinian demonstrations were held at the same location over the weekend. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel is willing to consider brief pauses in the ongoing conflict with Hamas, despite rejecting calls for a ceasefire. The Israel-Hamas war, which began with Hamas's surprise attack on Israel on October 7th, has resulted in more than 11,000 casualties on both sides. Texas Senator Ted Cruz is calling out election interference in support of presidential candidate Donald Trump. Lance Pry explains.
Presidential candidate Donald Trump gave testimony in his civil trial in Manhattan yesterday, alleging election interference. Texas Senator for 10 years, Republican Ted Cruz, weighed in on Fox News last night.
The unfairness of this proceeding is exactly right. Letitia James is a hardcore partisan. She campaigned saying, I'm going to get Donald Trump. I'm going to go after Donald Trump. This judge, by all appearances, is a hardcore partisan who hates Donald Trump. And we can anticipate he's going to rule against Trump. He doesn't like Trump. He wants to punish Trump.
Yesterday, a jury acquitted Nathan Woodyard on charges of reckless manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide in the second trial concerning the death of 23-year-old Elijah McClain following an altercation with Aurora police. I'm John Schaefer, USA News.
Do you have a story to tell? Bring your story to life with audiobooks. Great stories deserve great storytelling. Audiobook Network provides professional voice actors and full production services for every author's manuscript. From narration, production, and editing to distribution, promotion, and sales, Audiobook Network handles everything. If you have a print book, ebook, or even a manuscript, call Audiobook Network now and get our free audiobook guide. 800-734-1229, 800-734-1229.
The following is an American Matters Media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of American Matters Media.
I got my backbone back. You stole it, I took it back. I got my backbone back. I'm lifting up. I got my backbone back. You stole it, I took it back. I got my backbone back. I'm lifting up. Well, I'm lifting up. I'm lifting up. I'm lifting up. I'm lifting up.
Welcome to What's the Story? My name is Janice Hermson, and I am your host here today with my co-host, Ed Knoll.
Howdy, everyone.
And we have a very special guest with us, Richard, citizen journalist. If you are on Telegram, you will know him. And I do not know how to say your last name. So I'm just going to call you Richard, and you can share that with us. And I asked Richard to come on because I was hoping that he would share a little bit about his story for those of you who aren't familiar with him. I will tell you, I followed him from the time probably just around after the election of 2020, and watched him traveling through Washington, D.C. and many, many, many other places. Oh, my goodness. You have been everywhere, Richard. Welcome to What's the Story?
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure to be here. Yeah, thank you. Well, my last name is Potcner, so it's Richard Potcner. And that
C just threw me. It's P-O-T-C, and that just didn't seem like an S to me.
Yeah, I know. It supposedly was a Z at one time before, and then it turned to a C. But who knows the true history of things?
I know.
And Is there anything that's off limits on this show?
No swearing.
No swearing.
No
Otherwise,
profanity.
we can talk about
Otherwise,
anything.
we're wide open.
We are wide open.
That's one of the joys of What's the Story.
You. Yeah, we are publishers, and we do not believe in censorship. So.
Wow. Okay. So. Well, that's great.
I know I probably shouldn't say that to you, but I'm gonna anyway.
Yeah. So, I was with my mother in Mexico. I was the #1 salesman. I've worked in sales my entire life. And we were coming back from a President's Club trip that was paid for by the company. And then the owner of the company and the manager said that I had to wear a mask if I was going to continue on with that job. And I said, I'm never doing that. And then everything went crazy. You all remember?
Oh, yeah.
And so right, we were right along with it, crazy.
We were here in this empty mall because it was totally empty at the time because they wouldn't let people in.
This current reality is so bizarre.
Yeah.
Current reality.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I'll tell you some of the story, but behind us right now, there's people decorating Christmas trees in a mall that's already in the past. I mean, it's already over for this mall, but people are still just going through the motions because they're programmed to do so. And they haven't woken up to a simple ritual, which is Hollywood, which is Hollyweird, which is Holywood, which is cutting down of a tree, which is an axe, which if you understand Santa, it's an anagram for Satan. You just rearrange a few letters. Naughty, right? Is
you got Shanimal behind you, our engineer. He's just nodding his head,
the Grinch that stole Christmas, naughty or nice. So we're in that season. And then I just came from Lowe's, and it's like the Matrix is, because I like walking through, and I'll tell more about my story. But what I do is I go out and film reality. And so I went to Lowe's, Home Depot, and Target just to take a look because I haven't been in there a few months, and it's just full blast. Consume. And then you look at the people patronizing the places, and they just look to me to be like these, in slow motion, Lord knows how many boosters at this point. And I just watch it, and I zip through life, right? Like I don't, I
we can tell.
Yeah. And so it's just totally was like behind anyway. And it's just all these things. So then I got back with my mother from Mexico, and I was I was this guy that came to people's houses, knock on Richard, I'm here for the free estimate. That's good for a year. Everyone knows that, right? And my closing ratio was 70%. Most people are 10, 20%. 7 out of 10 doors, I had an appointment, I would make a sale, right? So I'm a very personable person. I care about people, and that's what this whole mission has been. If you followed me, you know that I've moved 500 times in the last 3.5 years.
At least.
I've been to almost every state, almost every major city, small town, big town. I mean, and I don't say it with ego, but I don't think there's anybody that you will hear from that has been around and been in homes and knows what's going on with people, because we are in an era of disinformation, misinformation, total chaos, right? And in the chaos, there's hope and there's light and there's joy. And not just that, there's all this new stuff that's out. And it's all being censored. It's interesting to watch the stadiums, because people go into stadiums to watch fake sports to stay dumb, right? A stadium, stay dummium, right? Take the poison, do what we say, right? And we're watching the falling away of the cabal. We're watching evil in its death throes. Right now, that's what's happening. And there's a bubbling up of love and joy that I can feel that frequency everywhere that I am. So anyway, I got back from Mexico with my mother. My boss said, wear the mask. I said, you guys are crazy. And I'm a veteran. I was a combat medic. I know oxygen's good. Like, it was that easy for me. Doesn't make sense. Whatever's out there, give it to me so my immune system can fight it off, and then let's go on with life. Well, that became 2 years to stop the spread or something. We're watching this.
Yeah.
It's still
cancers and all sorts of new
Right.
things, right? So anyway,
why haven't they solved them?
Well, cancer is totally look. Whatever you guys want to talk about, cancer is treatable, curable. I can tell people how to do it. If anyone listening wants to know that, you want to get a hold of me, you can direct message me on Telegram. You can call my phone number. I can put that out. Does it to your listeners? No problem.
Right.
So these things are solvable. All the things are solvable. But anyway, so get back from my mom. Blah blah blah. Stay home. And I'm like, I took the oath. I know what the Constitution says. Right? You don't tell me what to do, right? I'm in my car. I mean, I literally drive. At one point I stopped caring what color the light was, red or green. It didn't matter because nobody was out. I felt like I was like the Lone Ranger. I felt like I Am Legend in the movie.
Right.
I'm just driving, and I'm from Washington, D.C. So I'm driving through Washington. I'm like, what is going on? And then you catch the news, and it's like Kayleigh McEnany, Trump, Fauci, and I'm watching that. I'm like, these are just talking heads behind a microphone telling me what to do. This is so anyway. So I end up at the biggest hospital in Washington D.C. called Holy Cross Hospital, and they're building like hazmat tents, and like stormtroopers are out. There's police officers in front of the hospital. So like, what's going on here? So I park my car. I walk inside the ER, and I just look around. And in a moment of just being in the moment and observing the truth of reality, I noticed something, and what that was nobody was there. And then you go watch the news, and hospitals are crazy packed, right? So I call my dad. I said, Dad, my dad's cool. My dad protested for peace during Vietnam. He's awake. He's a political science major. He was an arborist in Washington, D.C. So I know the other thing, I know Washington, D.C. at the back of my hand. So if people watch me, they could see, I was in D.C. for probably the first year of this. I called my dad. I said, Dad, Holy Cross Hospital is empty. He said, what do you mean? I said, no cars in the parking lot, few people in zoot suits. They're building tents. He's like, no, it's packed. I said, Dad, I'm in the ER now. No, Richard. He couldn't break his own program at the time.
Right.
So I took my camera out. And before this, I had no social media. I didn't have social media. I still think it's for the birds, but
it helps.
It's how we get
Yeah.
information out.
Yep.
So I take a video, call my dad, send it to him. He says, Richard, you need to do something with this. And I said, what do I do? He said, start a Twitter account. So I said, okay. So I started a Twitter account, posted it, thought nothing of it. My phone has never made noises or anything. I just turn off all the alerts. So I wake up the next day and it's got I've got death threats, right?
Oh,
Congratulations.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. On that note, I do have to take a quick break here.
Okay.
So we're going to take a break. Richard's staying with us for the hour. So we will be back with more, and he'll share more of his story. You're listening to What's the Story?
Barbecue, the Butcher's Kitchen, would like to thank every customer for your loyalty and continued support through these challenging times. Call for takeout and delivery of rib tips, brisket, ahi, tuna, roasted veggies, and much more. Barbecue's open from 11 to 7, Monday through Saturday, and delivers hot food safe and healthy. Call 499-5855 for details. 499-5855 Barbecue, as featured on diners, drive-ins, and dives. Get real. Get into Barbecue Reno.
Hi, this is Eddie Floyd. Let me tell you about my favorite nonprofit public charity, Wainema Wild Horse Sanctuary, located on the Forsyth Ranch in Hallelujah Junction area. And please go to www.wainemaranch.com. That's WYNEMA ranch.com.
Hi, I'm Noreen Leary, CEO of the Veterans Guest House. Guest House is a home away from home for our veterans and their families who travel to Reno for medical care. Our house is more than just a warm bed. It's a place of camaraderie where veterans can find support and long-lasting friends. We serve veterans, men and women, young and old, Navy, Army, Marines, Coast Guard, and Air Force. Wherever they hail from and whatever their circumstance, the Veterans Guest House is ready to support them. The reason we feel so strongly about our mission is that we know that many veterans would forgo their medical treatments because they simply can't afford the accommodations. The guest house is one of a kind in the country, funded entirely through private donations. Want to know how you can help? There are many ways you can be involved, from volunteering, providing dinners, or supplying items from our wish list. Find out more about the guest house at www.veteransguesthouse.org. Serving veterans today, tomorrow, and for years to come.
Businesses, writers, check this out. Go to lrpnv.com to get your printing, publishing, and professional services today. Need a virtual office? A place to receive and forward your mail with professional address and suite number for your business? Someone to answer your telephones? Want to rent a conference room for only $15 an hour? What about that book you've been wanting to have printed? LRP Printing and Business Center can do it for you, and they have a professional assistant on site daily, Monday through Friday. Just call 775-356-1004. Need copies, business cards, invoices, books, booklets, or graphic design to help brand you or your business? Just call 356-004 with a great selection of new and used. You can get your printing done and a book to entertain you in your time off. And don't forget, you could have your business sponsoring the Bookhound Radio Show, just like Andrew Martoni, author of Little Man in the Map, does every week. Just go to lrpnv.com. That's lrpnv.com or call 775-356-1004. They'll provide solutions for your business and writing projects.
Now if it's an hour to get a post up, so.
This is Paco, and I host In the Swing, your program about swing music and big band songs from the 20s, 30s, and 40s. You hear us right here on KPGF 93.7 FM or on the World Wide Web at americamatters.us. So tune in on Saturday mornings right here and listen to In the Swing.
Wake up, the sun below. Got another road to let the fire
I was the number one account executive for Wilmington Finance in 2008 in the country.
Shy and don't want to talk on the air? Text us your questions or comments to 775-237-2266. Now back to the show.
Welcome back. This is What's the Story? And glad to have you back here. Hang on one second. I got to mute me. There we go. We are here with Ed Knoll, my co-host, and Richard, citizen journalist. And Richard, say your last name for me again. Potcner. I'll get it.
Yeah.
So Richard has been going all around the country for quite some time now, at least close to 3 years, I would say. And he's been sharing a story about when he first started out, and he went into a hospital that was completely empty during COVID, when everybody was saying how full it was. And I want to share one thing with you just before you continue, because my husband was in the hospital at that time. And I had an experience where I was walking around and they were actually letting me in. They barely, but they did let me in because of his condition. They had to at that time. And I walked in and there was just absolutely nothing going on.
Right.
And I'd go in his room and I'd say stuff to the nurses about how, oh, you're so swamped. And they just kind of looked at me.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
They wouldn't say anything, but they just kind of, I said, can I get you anything? Because that was when everybody
Renown had the tents up in the
Right,
parking
they did.
garages.
So they
Yeah,
were-
right in
Yeah.
the parking.
they were everybody was trying to buy them food, bring them stuff, because you're thinking they're really stressed out, right?
Yeah.
And they're just kind of looking at me this whole time. And I had an aide coming in for my husband to help, because I'm paying this person, right? Because I didn't want to stress them out, so I'm paying them to come in and help them. And as I was walking out one night, I looked around and the elevator was empty. There was one guy coming down with one of his carts, and I said, "Man," I said, this looks like a nice breather for you, right? Oh no, it's busy. It's busy.
I know.
That's what he kept saying. So, I had the same type of experience, and yet everybody walked around saying, "Oh, it's horrible."
Looks
it's
to me
horrible."
like drug companies are about to take over the world.
Yeah.
Well, they largely have. So I can talk about. I'll say a few more things about the things that I did. So if people want to learn more at some point, I need to, and then we can talk about some of the current genocide going on. I could talk in detail about that, and I don't mean Gaza. I mean right here, where we are right now. It's happening. We're living through it. It's a long time coming. And I can talk about that in detail, whatever we want to talk about. But so anyway, I continued on. So if people remember when there was like refrigerated trucks and there was all this stuff. So I just blasted through the doors of every hospital I could find all over this country. I think I got up to 300 or 400 hospitals. They threw me in jail. The security would know I'm coming. They would chase me around the parking lot. Also I went into Johns Hopkins with a megaphone. Johns Hopkins, and I was like, "You're counting the numbers." And I was walking through. We were going in hospitals, and people were going in. Like, they knew we were coming, so people would go to the loading dock. My friends and people that I knew, I was getting, and then other people started doing it. Right, and this wake up happened, which was great, because then people were on the prowl about what are they going to do, and then vaccine, and a lot of people didn't get it, and that's where we first disrupted the large part of the New World Order plan. They wanted everyone vaxxed, everybody, and the numbers I don't believe in any of the numbers. And so I did all that, right? So I was a hospital wake up. And then shortly after that, then I started following Trump, and I went to like 50 Trump rallies. I remember Trump would announce where he was going to be the next day. And if I could make it, I would, meaning like if it was a 16-hour drive, I did. So I don't know how many states I covered. And the most amazing thing about the Trump rallies that people don't know is it was like a pilgrimage. He would land his plane in places that were remote, that your GPS wouldn't work. And you get there and all of a sudden there's 50,000 people. I've just never seen anything.
Gardnerville.
Yeah, Gardnerville.
Gardnerville. Yeah.
He came here.
But way more remote than Gardnerville. I'm talking on the hills of Pennsylvania, a place called Valdosta, Georgia, which I'd never heard of. I mean, it was incredible. I'd never seen anything like it. And then people were coming from other countries too, because things were kind of locked down, but not. So these big groups of Chinese and Japanese were coming in to see Trump. All these untold stories. So that was amazing. Then Trump got sick at Walter Reed for COVID. If you guys remember that. So I was in Annapolis having dinner. Annapolis is the capital of Maryland. And I saw the Marine One flying on TV. And I was with a friend. I was like, I got to go. So I drove straight to Walter Reed. And at this point, I think I had like in the millions of followers on Twitter. And I took and I don't really do much with my face. I don't really post about myself. I don't like looking at people behind screens. It annoys me because I think they're dictators, right? People behind microphones are dictating to you to program your brain to make you believe what they believe or what they want you to believe. That's how this works.
They're not called talking heads for nothing.
Right. So I took one of the only selfies. There's no selfies in my phone. And I said, I'm at Walter Reed. I'm praying for POTUS. And then like a flashpoint, thousands of people shut down. They shut down Connecticut Avenue, and the fake news was up on a hill, and they'd pan past us, and we were all in the streets, thousands of people dancing. People got generators. We were sleeping on sidewalks. It was unreal. And that's a piece like at some point in the future, I'd just love to do like an hour show of just that footage. It's amazing, right? And there's a lot of footage like that. And the only other thing I'll talk about, and then you can mention what you want, we can talk about whatever, but then I was in Washington, D.C. and January 6th happened, right? And that also, people need to wake up, right? People were this is the question people should be asking. Who led people to D.C.? Who? What influencers did it? And have they faced any charges? Right? Because I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and people don't know this story, but I was with big characters, Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes, Ali Alexander. We were inside the Capitol. We were there to stop the steal. And I said, hey, Alex, I was right there. I said, we're inside the Capitol in Georgia, right? They're certifying the election in 2 days. There's bathrooms here. There's where the people, this is our house, right? They call it the people's house, right? Sure. There's the Secretary of State's door, right? There's the governor's door. We have 1,000 people in here. What are we doing? And this is why we came. We're inside. And then Ali Alexander called me a hillbilly and said, if we let all the hillbillies make all the decisions, we're going to lose this country, right? Because they wanted everyone to go to D.C. Why? People need to ask that question. Why? Because my friends are in jail now, right? Because they were ushered in. That's the reality people need to wake up to, right? So anyway, so after that, they surrounded. I just remember, like it was yesterday, like they're setting up fences and putting concertina wire around the Capitol. I'm like, what is going on, you know? And then our troops came in, which is our National Guard, and I was National Guard, and they called in the National Guard in the cold winter city, cold sleet, snow from Puerto Rico, from California, from Florida. These people were freezing, shivering, and then someone sent me a picture from the inside information of raw salmon and raw chicken that they're feeding our troops. So my head about exploded because I'm a veteran. So I went to this little diner in DC. I said, we need to make the food for the troops.
I remember that.
And we raised I was getting 80 to 100 Amazon boxes every day with cards from schools that didn't shut down from kindergarten classes. We love our troops. Hand warmers, cards, chess sets, homemade soap. It was like, I'm getting goosebumps. It was amazing. And I was just running around the perimeter. And then they were in all the hotels in Washington. So one of the things I haven't talked about, but like they let me in their break room. So like the hotels gave them like a conference room where they could hang out, and they were letting me in. So I had pizza with a bunch of the troops. There's a chaplain. There's a bunch of people. There was a bunch of people these are our troops, and they were protecting a new president that everyone saw the number switch. And at that time, people were going through it. Mothers were pulled from their children to come stand guard at our Capitol, and suicide was high thing. So I was talking to the chaplains, and they're like, every night we're in these hotel rooms talking these troops out of really tough stuff, right? So now it's a very tense time for our country. We all remember, right, what's going on. And so, but I was able to, we were making 1,000 sandwiches a day. You know, we had to get extra coffee machines. I was running back and forth from, at the time, Costco, just getting food to keep this. It was called Pete's Diner, and this beautiful Vietnamese woman ran it. And then everyone was just pouring the money in through Venmo and Cash App. And I was spending $4 or $5 grand a day on food. And just that went on for months, right? So that was a really cool thing that most people didn't get to see. So, you know, it was this really cool part because this chapter of America is pivotal that we're in right now. And so that's why we got to keep our frequency up and our vibration up. We got to be kind to each other. We got to be helpful, because the squeeze play is happening now. The squeeze play is financial burdens. Car notes are a 29-year high for default right now, 29-year high, right? Auction blocks for cars are down 20 to 30% on what the buyers of the repos are getting, right? So that's a collapse. Interest rates on mortgages right now are, you know, if you don't have 20% down, you got to pay PMI, taxes, insurance, plus 8%, $500,000. That's a $5,000 note. No one can afford it. On top of that, you know, I like Starbucks. I hate chains. Okay. I mean, I walk in my truth, but every once in a while they make this drink called a white chocolate mocha that I just love. Right. So like once a month, maybe, or something, I'll get one. I'll just, okay, Richard, I'm still living in the real world.
Yeah. It sucks being a capitalist.
I mean, you know, if there's a better alternative, there probably is. But anyway, so I got one the other day, $7 for a cup of coffee now.
We'll have to find one, a human being for you.
Yeah. There probably is. You know,
they could have basted this when I was in line so long.
I know.
But either way, when you look at all the robots that are lining up at the fast food, and you look at all these lines, and you realize that it's, when I was a kid, I could get and it's all poison, right? We'll get into the genocide. I'll talk about that. But you know, McDonald's, when I was a kid, I could get a Big Mac, fries, and a drink for $2.99,
right.
the extra value meal, right? Now that's $12.
Yep.
And that's in my short lifetime. And I couldn't go to McDonald's till I was 18. So in 20 years, now we're talking about a fourfold increase in price. Right. And then the zombies are still lining up for their coffees for $7. It's that it can't keep going on like this. So we need alternatives. Right. And so that's what we're watching unfold right now. And so it's an amazing time to be alive. That's all I can say. And
well, you go to places like Public Square, which is a website that caters to alternate types of businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those are all cropping up.
Right.
Gab has got its own community. I mean,
cool.
all these different places that are trying to build that community. Locally, I can tell you there's a whole bunch of people that are grouping together.
Yeah.
That are, well, you probably have met a lot of them because you're here now.
Yeah.
But they're really working hard to be able to, when that collapse happens, if that collapse happens.
This is the thing. We're going to be just fine, right? Like I'm leaving here. I mean, I just put this out, and But I'm leaving here to go to Vegas for a launch of a new company that's going to pay people for every debit swipe. So there's a new card coming out in the debit world so that's a new thing, right? So now every time you swipe, you're going to get paid just for participating. And so that's going to bubble up, and that's everyday expenditure. So there's these new, you're saying
that's that transact.
Yeah. So there's these new things coming up, and I mean, hey, and who knows? I mean, the future is unknown, but I'm like, okay, well, this makes sense to me.
Well, and I think everybody has to look for alternatives. Now, on that note, in the meantime, we do have sponsors, and we do have to let them have their say.
Yeah, I'm not trying to put a plug in.
We'll be right back. You're listening to What's the Story?
The depths of my soul, feel like the burning flames, not scalding in my face. Let the worry incinerate, smolder out under each step I take.
Businesses, writers, check this out. Go to lrpnv.com to get your printing, publishing, and professional services today. Need a virtual office? A place to receive and forward your mail with professional address and suite number for your business? Someone to answer your telephones? Want to rent a conference room for only $15 an hour? What about that book you've been wanting to have printed? LRP Printing and Business Center can do it for you, and they have a professional assistant on site daily, Monday through Friday. Just call 775-356-1004. Need copies, business cards, invoices, books, booklets, or graphic design to help brand you or your business? Just call 775-356-1004 or go to lrpnv.com. With a great selection of new and used books, you can get your printing done and a book to entertain you in your time off. And don't forget, you could have your business sponsoring the Bookhound Radio Show, just like Andrew Martoni, author of Little Man in the Math, does every week. Just go to lrpnv.com. That's lrpnv.com or call 775-356-1004. They'll provide solutions for your business and writing projects.
At A Proper Fit Footwear in the Reno Town Mall, we've been accomplishing happy feet for over 30 years.
We offer a various range of shoe styles and sizes for both men and women. From all-season shoes and orthotics to work boots and safety shoes, our professional and reliable staff possesses the knowledge to help you find the proper shoes to fit your needs. Hard to fit? Hard to find?
A Proper Fit Footwear is here to give our customers happy feet. We make people aware of potential foot problems as we're sizing their feet, suggesting the right arch support, and guiding them to the proper shoes for their needs.
Stop by A Proper Fit Footwear at 4001 South Virginia Street in the Reno Town Mall today, and allow the owner Mike Jones and our fabulous staff to find the perfect pair of shoes tailored to your specific needs.
A Proper Fit Footwear in the Reno Town Mall, the home of happy feet, where comfort and your feet meet.
Barbecue the Butcher's Kitchen would like to thank every customer for your loyalty and continued support through these challenging times. Call for takeout and delivery of rib tips, brisket, ahi tuna, roasted veggies, and much more. Barbecue's open from 11 to 7, Monday through Saturday, and delivers hot food safe and healthy. Call 499-5855 for details. 499-5855 Barbecue, as featured on diners, drive-ins, and dives. Get real. Get into Barbecue Reno.
My name is Stephanie Phillips, and I am running for the United States Senate. Are you ready for a fresh new candidate instead of the same old establishment types? I am your answer. I will be the kind of public servant you can trust, who will be accountable to we the people, and who will keep their word. Visit phillipsfornevada.com to learn how to be involved in this new movement and join this warrior. My name is Stephanie Phillips, and I am asking for your vote. Paid for by Stephanie Phillips for Nevada.
This is Paco, and I host In the Swing, your program about swing music and big band songs from the 20s, 30s, and 40s. You hear us right here on KPGF 93.7 FM or on the World Wide Web at americamatters.us. So tune in on Saturday mornings right here and listen to In the Swing.
To join the conversation, call 844-790-TALK. That's 844-790-8255. Now back to the show.
Welcome back. This is What's the Story? I'm Janice Hermson. I'm your host. I'm here with Ed Knoll, my co-host, and we have been talking to Richard Potcner, who has traveled the whole country and is very informed about a lot of things that most people aren't going to see on the news.
He
I think,
shines light on
yeah,
this
he
stuff.
does. He
Caller
shines.
online.
Oh, we got a caller? Okay.
Go ahead, caller.
All right, go ahead, caller. Oh, apparently they
They
left.
hung up.
Only for me.
That was Brian calling about his scam call.
Out of 5,000.
All right. So Richard has I'd say he's been around. He ended up in Gardnerville, Nevada, after leaving Washington D.C. and has been. Oh, I don't know. I guess kind of. Well, I'll tell you. You shared the Nevada Day Parade,
Yeah.
and I would say that I don't think I've ever seen anybody point out so many different things that probably Nevadans do not even think about, right?
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was
Oh,
really
thank you.
awesome. Yeah, because I didn't get down there. I've been to the parade often, but I didn't get down there this year. So it was really great to be able to see it. Thanks.
Yeah, that's one of the unique things I think about my content and kind of this some of the truth. Now, I don't think there's very many people that do it. I don't think there's anyone that does it like me, and I don't say that. But
No, it's not an ego thing. That's
but most of the time, Macy's Day Parades and stuff, you've got the host behind the desk, and the thingers are coming past you, right? And they're like, "This is the thing,"
Oh, Jan and I are striving for that.
Yeah, we're striving.
We're going to replace Al Roker on the, on the Rose Parade.
To be fair, the Nevada Day Parade has like 4 or 5 of those booths, which is great.
Right.
And most people stay stationary, and that's fine. That's just not who I am. And so I kind of I probably walked 15, 20 miles that day. I walked back in, and then I try to present in a way that people will enjoy, because that's what I want. I want people to know the truth. And I want them to enjoy it, and I want us to keep stepping into these moments day by day. And there's, and so thank you for noticing that. And yeah, the Nevada is beautiful here. I've never seen anything quite like that. Nevada Day Parade is beautiful.
The access to people is awesome.
Oh yeah.
Right. I have a story like I was married and had my kids, and we went to the pancake breakfast, and the governor was there, and he's just standing out there. You can go meet him, talk to him.
Yeah.
He gave a coin to my son. I happened to needed to go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom, and then the urinal next to me was the governor-elect, right? Where's that happen?
Well, you'd be surprised. That's a changing paradigm, because I was at a lot of the Trump rallies, and you can get close to a lot of people, and we haven't had that, right? That's why we're watching the evil.
It's awesome.
Because all they can do now is stand behind their microphones. That's the truth, right? Try to dictate to you what they want you to believe. And I'll take, also in the Capitol in Nevada, which is in Carson City, you can walk right in there. There's no security detectors. It's like you feel like everywhere around DC, there's security at malls. You're always going through metal detectors everywhere you go. I've got feedback in my
Yeah, I
ears.
know. I'm getting it. Hold on.
We must be in Pikes
He
Peak.
he pulled me into the show again, and every time he does that thing goes back on.
No big deal. But let's talk quickly, because I think it's important people understand some new concepts. I want to talk about what's happening with people coming across the border, what I'm actually seeing, because that's important for people to know. Because there's a lot of, we have to understand the programming teaches you words. One of those common phrases right now is military age men. Have you all heard that one yet?
I have not heard that.
I have.
Have you?
Yeah, military age men.
They separate single men away from women and children.
Well, a lot of people in the echo chambers are talking about military age men are coming across the border, and the talking heads of the government are saying potential terrorist attack and sleeper cells and terrorism. And they use these words. And when I was 5 years old, I didn't know those words. So you have to understand you're programmed to know the words. Why? Because it's control. We're in a control program. And so I'll talk about that. Let's talk about the genocide that's happening in America now. So a lot of people equate that genocide to some people they think it's the vaccine. What's happening in America is, when I was a kid, I couldn't sit still in class. Right? Kindergarten was fine, but first, second, third grade, a nightmare for a guy like me. Like, after this hour, I'm going to have to go blow it out there somewhere. Right? And so immediately it's a parent teacher conference, and they're like, your kid's disruptive. He's got ADD, blah, blah, blah. We want him to see the counselor and a psychiatrist. And my parents are cool. But my parents would both show up to the parent teacher conferences, kind of like that. And they're like, we love our son, and we're not doing any of this. And so they kept me out of the pharma matrix, but that started when I was 8. And that's when Ritalin came out, and then Adderall came out. And then SSRI uptake inhibitors started coming out, right? This is the genocide. That's what I'm explaining to you, right? When I was a kid, food was good. It wasn't all GMO. Now you cross the fruited plain, and every piece of corn, its stalk is the exact same, because they're clone plants. And there's very little nutritional value in any of that stuff, right? And that is the farm factory that goes on in our country. So now you have a country that's largely prescribed, and that's an ongoing timeline, but it started 20 years ago, maybe 30 years ago. Most people are taking pills for something. Those pills then have side effects. Those side effects are things like obesity, autoimmune. Autoimmune didn't exist when I was a kid. And what you're seeing right now is the ending of that timeline. The crescendo was supposed to be the vax. But either way, a lot of these people are just so slow motion, so tuned out, not involved. And then when you add in the mind control device that's in your hand right now, it's a complete control matrix. People are getting all their data from their phones and they believe that it's true. And so that's the American genocide that's going. And if it doesn't look like death to you, you can just see that it looks like, go look at go to a football game and stand out at the end and watch the people walk out. It just looks like the most horrific thing, but people don't stop to observe it. They're trying to get to their cars. But if you look at it, if you look at the people going to their cars, you can see this is a control program. It's obvious. And then you couple that with, when I was a kid, if you wanted a mixed drink, even 10 years ago, you had to go to a bar to get a mixed drink. Now they have it in a can, right? The spirits are amplified. When I was a kid, there's Camels and Marlboros. And by the way, if you look at any cigarette container, if you look at the symbol, so symbolism is an important thing. It's important to them. And so on a
When you say them, you mean
the controllers, the Freemasons, the bankers, the elites. Okay. Symbolism is very important. That's why if you look at magazine covers, they're closing one eye, covering one eye. It's all their level of communication. That's why they use words. If you really start paying attention, you'll see they're like they have a third grade level of understanding each other, and it's so easy that you miss it. But one of those things is so one of them is pyramids. Everyone knows that, and so the pyramid, all seeing eyes on your $1 bill. You can fold up a 20 and see the Twin Towers burning, and so. So when you start understanding these things, then you look at like Camel. You look at Camel cigarettes, and am I being too loud?
No, not loud enough.
I'm chewing chocolate.
Okay. And so when you look at Camel cigarettes, there's a camel and there's a pyramid in the back. If you look at the shape of the Marlboro logo, it's a pyramid. And if you look at all,
so it's all messaging, is what you're saying.
It's all communication.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is they're laughing at us, right? They said we gave our slaves cigarettes, we gave them spirits, we give them professional entertainment, sports, which are all fake, controlled by Vegas. That house of cards is falling, and we're in the aftermath. And what the aftermath looks like is going to look like is the squeeze play on the money. That's what we're in right now. And then things are going to switch. And people like us that are awake, we have too much power. They hate it. They hate it, but they can't stop us now. And so that's the point in time we're in right now.
We were just talking about the money issue today.
Yes.
We were doing a little gig over at the office and talking about the fact that there's going to be a change. There's got to be a change, and is everybody ready for it? So one of the things that you're doing is the Transact, and I don't mind you talking about that because it's something that you're getting ready to launch it. I saw it on your feed, so
Sure, yeah.
Go right ahead. And you're kind enough to come in. I'm happy to allow you to share that with folks.
It's okay. For people, what you need to know about me is I operate on true faith, which means that like I wake up, dear God, guide my steps today. Bring into my reality what I need. And that's exactly what happens every day. And I've lived my life largely in reverse. When I got out of college, my first W-2 was for $198,000 20 plus years ago, right? First W-2 out of college for Merrill Lynch. And I bought a second home before I bought a first home. I bought motorcycles instead of buying a new car, right? Now, in terms of dollars, like the fake money monopoly system, I don't have any.
Yeah. Trust me, I know that one.
$1,000 in credit card debt, and I don't know what to do. I said, well, do you have a mortgage? Yes. I said, all right, well, pay that. Well, then do what? I don't pay my. I said, your credit cards are unsecured debt. Look at your trade lines. What are they going to do? Come get the Walmart crap you bought?
Yeah, they're going to call you a lot.
What am I going to do about what am I going to do with my credit? I don't know. Do you need credit? Do you want to borrow more? Doesn't it say in the Bible a borrower is a lender's slave? Isn't that what a mortgage is? Mortgage. The word mortgage, mort, is mortician, right? Mortician. And I got news for you. I've never seen a Hearst followed by a U-Haul, right? So when we think about these things, you say, oh, and people are so locked in their mind control matrix. But the way it's supposed to be is work hard, earn, save, buy. Maybe tap, but they've gotten us so deep in a borrow system, and it's usury.
No, there's no delayed gratification. People can get whatever they want, right? I have clients come in and they can buy a $75,000 car with nothing down, right? And
it's pure insanity.
They can have anything they want right now, best I know, except a house, right? Most people can't walk into buying their dream house, but everything else they can have.
For now, that's all changing now. We're in the middle of that right now. So it's just a wake up. Like, it's just a wake up. And and you have to have these frank conversations, and so I'm completely debt free. I don't owe anybody anything, right? So for me, it's easier. But that's what's so amazing about the Matrix, is because people are just plugged in, and they think they have no choice, but you do, and you don't have to make these choices. You don't have. But so it's a material world, and the big celebrities and propagandists promote that to keep people bought in. Michael Jordan, 23 is 5, 23 is abracadabra, it's witchcraft. Right? People don't know these things. The NBA is fake. They have magnetic balls. It always comes down to the last 2 minutes, right? It's all fake. Okay? The NFL is completely fake.
And on that note, we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be back with more from Richard Potcner. We'll be right back.
Sliced fresh sandwiches every day, made right before your eyes. The Port of Subs way. Could be a smoking number 5 or a classic number 8, or maybe an Italian is your number 1 fave. Whatever you crave, prepare to fall in love. Sliced fresh sandwiches, Port of Subs.
We're slicing up the quality you crave at Port of Subs. The taste of your favorite sliced fresh meats and cheeses on Port of Subs fresh baked bread, and all of those crunchy, crispy veggie toppings with your favorite savory sauces. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. It's that special Port of Subs quality and blends of flavors that keep you wanting more. Visit your neighborhood Port of Subs today, and we'll slice up the taste you're craving. Order online at portofsubs.com or on our mobile app.
Whatever yummy number you're dreaming of. Sliced fresh sandwiches, Port of Subs.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dennis Patterson. I'm the founder and owner of Nevada Advanced Pain Specialists. At Nevada Advanced Pain Specialists, we take a comprehensive approach to treating patients with chronic pain in the greater Reno, Tahoe area. We believe in the biopsychosocial model. This means we use multiple disciplines such as massage therapy, physical therapy, behavioral health, and medical treatments to treat your chronic pain. A plan of care is tailor-made for each individual patient. We always recommend conservative care first, but offer minimally invasive treatments when necessary. We are your one-stop shop. If it hurts, we can help. We pride ourselves in providing passionate care and making you feel welcome and understood. We are located in Reno and in Sparks, so give us a call to schedule a new patient consult at 284-8650. Again, that's 284-8650. Or visit our website at nvadvancedpain.com. We hope you choose Nevada Advanced Pain Specialists to be your center for injury rehabilitation. nvadvancedpain.com, 284-8650.
Businesses, writers, check this out. Go to lrpnv.com to get your printing, publishing, and professional services today. Need a virtual office? A place to receive and forward your mail with professional address and suite number for your business? Someone to answer your telephones? Want to rent a conference room for only $15 an hour? What about that book you've been wanting to have printed? LRP Printing and Business Center can do it for you, and they have a professional assistant on site daily, Monday through Friday. Just call 775-356-1004. Need copies, business cards, invoices, books, booklets, or graphic design to help brand you or your business? Just call 775-356-1004 or go to lrpnv.com. With a great selection of new and used books, you can get your printing done and a book to entertain you in your time off. And don't forget, you could have your business sponsoring the Bookhound Radio Show, just like Andrew Martoni, author of Little Man in the Map, does every week. Just go to lrpnv.com. That's lrpnv.com or call 775-356-1004. They'll provide solutions for your business and writing projects.
This is Paco, and I host In the Swing, your program about swing music and big band songs from the 20s, 30s, and 40s. You hear us right here on KPGF 93.7 FM or on the World Wide Web at americamatters.us. So tune in on Saturday mornings right here and listen to In the Swing.
Now she's gone like a
Want to expand your advertising dollar? Sponsor this or any America Matters program by calling 775-827-8900, extension 2. Now back to the show.
Welcome back. This is What's the Story? I'm Janice Hermson. I'm your host. I'm here with Ed Knoll, my co-host, and Richard Potcner has been with us for this segment, sharing his truth. And it may not be your truth, but probably good to listen to and at least evaluate and do some research.
Totally
because that's-
refreshing.
Yeah, that's what you need to do. You need to do research on your own. And I want to mention, I was watching just before you came in. I was watching your interview with the. I don't know if you'll remember this or not. You were in Reedsley or Reedley,
Yes.
California.
Yes. With the yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I wasn't sure if you were going to expand on that or not.
I was trying to remember anybody. I was with the code enforcer.
Right, code enforcer, and you did a pretty detailed interview.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people understand that there was a lab in Little Reedley, California. Reedley or Reedsley? Is it Reedsley?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's an agricultural area. It's
So that's good because I did want to talk about the border crisis and now tie into this.
Okay,
So what people need to realize that they probably do is that the grocery store and all the places they shop are full of aisles of stuff they don't need. There's a great movie, Hurt Locker. The last scene of Hurt Locker, he's looking at the cereal aisle and then it shows him disarming bombs again, right? Because there's 1,000 different types of cereals. Now, if you look at the ingredients, they're poison. Triphosphate is a degreaser chemical sold at Home Depot. It's in Lucky Charms. Okay, that's how bad it is. And not to mention, people know about bioengineered ingredients and all these things. So I was traveling through Georgia, I think, and I got my keys locked in my car. Or something like this happened, so I had to call for a service. And then where that service took me was to a building in America. And in that building, there was a rub and tug spa. You guys have all seen the massage things that have the doorbell to get in. That's where men go and get these rub and tugs. This is all in the free market America.
They were a locksmith too.
They were a locksmith out the back. They lived in apartments above. Now, listen, I think it's all somehow legal, right? And so once you start understanding that, and it was all Chinese owned. So everything is owned and they're trafficking people, okay? A lot of the women that do nails are being trafficked. And once you can start seeing that the owner comes in at night and picks up the money, and if you follow the cars home and you see what's really going on, you will wake up. And that's been in our country for a while. Now, and then once you can understand and watch the video about the laboratory and you realize they were making COVID tests and they had SARS-CoV-2, HIV samples, mice, and they were making birth control or pregnancy tests. And you have to understand when you're a woman, and I don't understand, but if you're a woman and you think you're pregnant or you think you're not, right? You make adjustments to your lifestyle based on that. Most women do. So now you have a faulty test that's being produced in an underground lab and it's sold at Walmart. Then you can make the connection in your brain that all the products could have the same thing. I discovered one laboratory in the middle of nowhere. How many are there?
Right.
Well, right. I mean, best I know, even over in the Russia fighting, right? Ukraine.
Oh,
they're in
Ukraine.
These isolated, unique spots, but they're all over, heck. I think the biolabs.
So I don't have a conclusion on that, but this whole thing was orchestrated. This whole thing's orchestrated. Now I've been asked. So there's a thing in Israel. Your people listening will know this. There's something called an Iron Dome. Okay,
I saw your post on that.
So I see rockets going one way and they explode. They look like fireworks to me because I have a mind that's not programmed. So I don't care. I'm looking at a video. What is it? It's a rocket going one way and it explodes. Where's the interception? Interception is another word. Contraception, interception. It's when you go to a judge, a man in a black robe comes out. He has a chamber, not an office. They summon you because you're a Social Security birth certificate product. People don't get it. They spell your name in all capital letters, just like on a gravestone, because you're a dead entity to them. That's why you get a lawyer to speak for you, because they look at you like you're dead. And when you walk into court and you say, "How is my name spelled?" and they tell you, you say, "Is it all caps or not?" They say all caps. You say, "That's not how I write my name. I don't know who you're talking to." And the judge will abandon ship and go back to his chamber because you called out the truth. And you can, if you look hard, you can find those videos on the internet. And so these are the truths that people don't want to hear because they're so plugged in, they really believe it. The Constitution says nothing about insurance. It says nothing about having a driver's license, right? But you have corporate police. The police are part of a corporation, just like the IRS has a Dun & Bradstreet number. That means they are a chartered corporation in the United States. Do you have to do business with corporations if you choose not to?
Nope.
No.
Right.
No.
So anyway,
Well, I mean, that's what we believe.
Right, because it's witchcraft. Because you're when I don't want to talk about it, but when you're 5 years old, you get to kindergarten. They spin it. They put a globe in front of you. And they say this is where you live, and they spin it around. The tilt of the globe minus a 90-degree angle is 66.6 degrees. Anyone can look that up. That's 666, right? The Taco Bell symbol, if you look at it, it's a snake eye looking to the left. The eye is a 6, and the 2 circles around are 6. It's Taco Bell. It's 666. It's a bell. Dong, wake up, ding dong, right? When you start, and they feed you humans. Yeah, you can look up studies. They test Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Taco Bell. They all have human DNA in their products. So it's a cannibalistic system. And when you start understanding these things, then you wake up. And then you can see that a judge comes from a chamber. What comes from a chamber? A round out of a gun, right? A chamber.
It just goes on and on.
I know. I was going to say, man, those statements in the last minute or two have to be way better than Wegovy for losing weight.
So I just want to talk briefly about the border, because I want people to just hear the truth on this too. So I was at the border. So I'm someone, and you know, an hour we can only fit in so much, I guess.
Right.
But I've been to every major city in America. I see what's going on. So what's going on is commercial real estate. Go look around. I'm looking at it right behind me in a mall, shopping mall, and there's a gate down because there's no retail here anymore because it's done. They want everything delivered to you at your door. That's happening now. Tesla has battery trucks driving around. Soon they will drive themselves. We're approaching that reality fast. San Francisco has self-driving taxis already out, and there's hundreds of them. Okay, I've seen them. I've been there. So at the border, I was watching people come across the border, and then I interact. I'm a people person. So I go to gas stations, I go to mini marts, and I stop in. I say, what's going on? Because I am a boots on the ground journalist. And what is actually happening is what concerns me. And so what's happening is these people are coming across the border, and the Patriot system, which you could call the Republicans, maybe. I don't know if you can mix and match those names. Flag wavers, American flag believers. You know, our flag is a war flag. We have a peace flag. Everyone's flying a war flag. Look it up. Look up what the postmaster is. Do some research. Right? The postmaster, who is that? How important is that position in the post of our country? It's very important. And once we start seeing peace flags fly, we'll know we're making progress. But right now, the conservatives, the patriots, whatever you want to call these people, whoever it is, but a lot of people are waking up to different things. Look what's going on with the Israel-Palestine protesting all around the world now, today. And so the people coming across the border, they know someone here in America. And the reason I know that is I'm meeting them, meaning I'm going to the gas station. I'm meeting this young kid, nice haircut, big smile. Where are you from? Nigeria? Where are you from? Nepal? Where are you from? India. How'd you get here? And they're cool. I walked across. I said, okay, you walked across. And now you're working. Who owns this place? My uncle. All right. So you're getting paid under the table. You've learned the cash register, and you're in our system.
Totally. There's a whole underbelly society.
Huge. And people don't. But the government is saying terrorism attacks are coming. The Patriots are calling them sleeper cells and military age men because it's a program, because they're bringing down the house. And that's what you have to realize. So what you've got to do is you got to get squared up on your foundation. You've got to get your financial house in order. If that means your credit goes down and you walk away from credit cards, make the choice. Remove yourself from it because it's going down fast. And the fiat's probably going to change. There's going to be shifts. I don't know what exactly. That's why I like that Transact card for various reasons because it still is the now. You still need a debit card to buy your gas.
Yeah, you still have to have some access.
And there's whole contingencies of people on the internet that are like quantum financial system is coming. I know people that think Steve Jobs is living in the moon, making the new quantum phone, right? So there's some stuff that's out there, right? There's a guy named Cliff High. I listen to some of these guys for entertainment.
I've listened to Cliff.
He's a complete genius, schizophrenic. And so he's talking crazy, but he's very articulate and he makes sense. And so people are listening to this by the hundreds of thousands and they're like, oh, and then I'll just say to people like, when was the last time you got out of your house? You know, I mean, everything's open out here, right? You know, so it's just all very bizarre, and I think we're a country of law and order, but that's gone off the tracks. We shouldn't. I don't agree that these people should come in and work for their uncle and have free pass and collect food stamps and get a house subsidy as well and get paid under the table. I don't think that's right, but this is being allowed, and the police aren't acting.
Right.
You know, the sheriffs, I love the police. I love the sheriffs, but you know, someone at some point is going to have to do something. Okay. That's the bottom line.
It's amazing to me the hordes of folks that are flowing here.
Yeah.
And guess what? None of them are homeless.
Right.
Audience, how to get a hold of you, because I know that you're very accessible, and if you go on Telegram, you can find him easily.
Yeah, so I'm posting to Telegram. That's all I can do. I'd love to get in all the social media matrix, but it's impossible when you're doing it on your own. So I'm Richard Citizen Journalist on Telegram, and there's a lot of scammers that say they're me and all this other stuff. But my channel, I think, has 170,000 people that follow me or so, and so that's where you find me at Telegram.
I thank you so much for coming and sharing your story, and hopefully you'll keep in touch. And if you're back around this way, you're always welcome to come on.
Awesome stuff,
thank
man.
You, man. Yeah,
awesome
appreciate
stuff.
it. Yeah, thank you guys.
All right.
Yep.
This
Thank you for having me.
What's the story? And we have to take our break. do the news, and then we'll have Brian T. Shirley, who will be sharing his story. And
The
a
news.
scam. Yeah. Oh, yes.
What you're doing, you're gonna end up dead.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking